It's the 60th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Sunoco, and this broadcast presented by our friends at Mazda. Welcome to a beautiful fall day here at America's National Park of Speed, Road America, for the 7th time hosting the runoffs. And we are glad to be with you. My name's John Phippen. Sitting alongside me is Tom O'Gorman, and down on the pit lane is Hayward Wagner. Hey, Hayward.
Hey guys, it's getting a little late in the day. The sun's getting a little bit low, but it's still pretty warm. The surface is still pretty warm, and we're ready for STU to take the track. We've got some very interesting cars in this class. The front row is going to be a BMW, an all-wheel drive Audi, but I want to take a look at this Mustang right here. This is one of the most interesting things I've seen at the runoffs in quite some time. The wings in STU are spec'd. They can only be so big, and if you look at how much wing there is compared to profile of the cars ahead of this, a lot of this wing gets hidden, aero gets hidden by the car. So what do? They cheated it, moved it, shouldn't say that, they moved it all the way over to the passenger side. So when this car's coming through the carousel, the air is coming across here, driving that inside tire back into the ground. I've never seen an offset wing in a road course before, but when you're looking at the size of this car, this Mustang, and where this all lines up, it makes perfect sense. And they say that they have the data to support the claim that the driver likes it this way, and so does the clock.
I have to agree with you, Hayward. I don't think I've ever seen that in something other than a winged sprint car. I mean, an offset wing like that. Wow, that's Fiorelli's car. He's going to start fourth in that number 190 Mustang. But before we get started, let's take just a moment for a break, and then we'll be back with you as the cars roll away for some of the folks that make this racing possible for us.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Ugh, forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Hagerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Hagerty, let's drive together.
We're back with you as the car is just about ready to roll off for the start of the STU race. One of the big stories here is one of the drivers expected to be in contention for the win, Joe Mosier. His CRX did not survive qualifying, and so he had to step into his F production Acura, and it's just not quick enough in this class.
No, it's just kind of a salvage, and if nothing else, more extra practice in that F production car before they race later this weekend. But STU is just one of the coolest classes we have in current club racing here in SCCA. The diversity and the variety that you get in this class is basically unrivaled, short of maybe GT2. We have front engine, front wheel drive, front engine, rear wheel drive, mid engine, rear wheel drive. We've got massive different displacements, transmission styles, a big history of cars, some former pro cars, and then cars like this that you're seeing right in front, the number 139, basically a garage-built Civic with an engine swap on the same manufacturer line. So you can be really, really creative here in STU. You see not a lot of repeat silhouettes. Yes, that's a Honda Accord you see back there, but the car that came out on top was Tom Noble, who's been putting in the work, both at in this to be able to dethrone the driver that was expected to be right at the top, Chip Herr. Those guys are going to start on the front row together.
Yeah, this is Tom Noble's first runoffs appearance, so as a rookie to put it on the pole, I mean a rookie to the runoffs, not a rookie as a driver of course, but as a rookie to the runoffs to put it on the pole, so pretty stout performance as these cars just about ready to roll away. We've got 18 of them on the starting grid, and let's introduce them to you. As we mentioned, our pole sitter, the number 72 of Thomas Noble, making his first runoff start out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota, the Land O'Lakes region, in a BMW 330i. He is one of Sports Car's picks to finish on the podium. The man who won a year ago in dramatic fashion is car number 1. That's Chip Herr out of Lititz, Pennsylvania, in the Susquehanna region. He's the defending champion, as we mentioned, in his Audi A4, and he's Sports Car's pick to repeat as champion, and I wouldn't put a whole lot of money against him. Darren Treacle, though, is going to be one to watch in the number 70 out of Marshall, Virginia, in the Washington, D.C. region, in his BMW 325. He's right in the hunt as well. David Fiorelli in that number 190 Mustang out of Coppell, Texas, in the Texas region. That's the Mustang with the offset rear wing. Right behind him, the number 199 of the first of, I think, 5 drivers from the Puerto Rican region. That's Jose Osiris Pena from Miami, Florida, in his Honda CRX. Right behind him, the 139 of Jorge Ortiz from San Juan, Puerto Rico, the Puerto Rico region, in his Honda Civic. A rookie, another rookie starter is the number 37 of Sean Lovett from Santa Rosa, California, in the San Francisco region, in his BMW E46. Starting 8th, the 165 of Jorge Nazario, also from San Juan and the San Juan region, in his Mazda MX-5. Starting 9th, the 49 of Ryan Hazelton from the San Francisco region, in his Honda S2000. And then John Schmidt in the number 62 from the Ohio Valley region. He's the 2015 champion of the class in his 25th runoff start. That's a Honda Accord. Eric Feist, another rookie, in the number 4 out of Bristolville, Ohio, in the Ohio region, a Honda CRX SI. And then Joe Mosier, all the way back in 12th position in that number 64 out of Dallas and the Detroit region, in his Acura Integra GSR. He's picked by Sports Car, or was picked by Sports Car, to be on the podium. But again, this car probably not up to the task in this class, at least. He is a 5-time champion, including last year in Super Touring Light. Starting 13th, the number 75 of James Schlechter out of Moab, Utah, in the Colorado region, in his Nissan 300SX. Right behind him, the 99 of Cameron Wagner from Vancouver, Washington, and the Oregon region, in his Porsche Boxster. Our final rookie in the field is car 7. That's Tazio Otis from Berkeley, California, the San Francisco region, in his Honda Civic SI. Just behind him, the 74 of Michael Kuna from Wells, Maine, in the New England region, in a BMW M3. Car 68, the last of our Puerto Rican region drivers, Edwin Soto Quinones out of Orlando, Florida, in a Porsche Boxster S. And starting at the back in 18th position, number 51 of Raymond Filbert from Pompano Beach, Florida, in the Florida region, in a Mazda Miata. So like you said, Tomo, a wide variety of cars, wide variety of configurations, rear engine, front engine, mid-engine, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have any other all-wheel drive cars in the entire paddock, actually. So
Yeah.
that Chip Herr vehicle is very unique and also has a lot of pedigree behind it, as does the car Darren Treacle is driving. This class was more or less designed to catch those former pro cars, but it also has a pretty open rule set that you can just build what you want. You can see that the variety is absolutely there. But to keep an eye on the way that this race unfolds. Obviously, last year, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch on the SCCA YouTube archives. The STU race was one of the billboards of all time, with Chip Herr losing the control of the car at the beginning of the race, coming back through a pattern, through a series of wild instances that got him back to the win.
Yep.
Within 40 minutes or even 30 minutes or so. But now he's not the quickest car. He actually has to deal with Tom Noble qualifying about 0.4 quicker or 0.3 quicker than did Chip Herr. Also keep an eye out, like we mentioned, for Fiorelli, and then that Darren Treacle car has also been very, very quick, but they were also a couple of tenths slower there in qualifying. So we have, with that variety, a lot of different cars, styles that are going to come and go as the race goes on.
Exactly. The Mazda pace car brings the field around to the start here. And thanks to Mazda for providing the pace cars for us here in the 60th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. As the field formed up nicely, 2 by 2, as they begin the long climb up the hill. 13 laps or 40 minutes, the scheduled length. Chip Herr and Thomas Noble side by side. Chip Herr, This is only his 4th runoff start, but he's got a win and a pair of seconds in those 4 starts. Waiting for the flag. There's the green, and we are away. And it's a dead heat at the front as Herr and Noble side by side. Noble on the inside in the BMW, Herr in the Audi on the outside. Some shuffling going on behind as the 70 of Darren Treacle is going to slot into 3rd spot. And then that Mustang with the offset wing of Fiorelli goes around the outside.
Very close stuff between him and David Fiorelli. They almost got into each other as Pena came through in that little CRX. They barely cleared, and now Fiorelli's kind of hung out to the outside as Sean Lovett goes up the inside in that no-aero BMW. Chip Herr, though, keeping our leader, Tom Noble, honest through those first couple of corners.
Treacle in that 3rd spot. Just behind him is Pena, as we mentioned. As they work their way through the long shadows here, the trees alongside the racetrack, casting shadows on the moraine sweep down into turn 5, the best passing opportunity on the racetrack.
I look at that all-wheel drive sling all the way up to the curb, dirt dropping, and then he gets it just all scrabbling forward and he pulls it up the hill. A little bit of a 2-car breakaway. And I also noticed towards the back of the pack, it looked like a number of the drivers trying to anticipate that green flag. Two. The other thing I'm noticing, Chip Herr's right side of the front of that hood is not strapped down fully, either not pinned or maybe just knocked out of alignment just a little bit. There hasn't been contact, so that's been that way ever since the formation lap. It's not going to help his aero. Tom Noble just beautifully up on the exit of that inside curb. He's not working the car too hard. You can see Chip Herr using just a little bit more of the track as he's got to work that Audi just a little bit more. Really, really high commitment through the kink. Herr's got to run. Is he going to go to the left? Yes, look at this massive move by Chip Herr.
Yeah, absolutely, as he got a great run through the carousel, drifting that car through the carousel, and then same thing through the kink. He's not going to press the issue just yet on this first lap, but he has definitely got some corner speed in that Audi.
Well, we know the Audi not running ABS for whatever reason. I don't remember if that's a design choice or if that's just the way the car is. He's absolutely up underneath Tom Noble, maybe even a bump draft there at the exit of turn 13. But no ABS in that Audi means that he can't quite attack the brake zones as confidently as we believe Tom Noble's car does have that anti-lock brake system to keep him confident.
At the end of lap 1, those two putting a little daylight between themselves in the 3rd place battle as Treacle hanging on to that spot right now as they come across the line. Interval just about 0.6 of a second between Noble and Herr. Noble's car definitely with the horsepower advantage as they were nose to tail coming into turn 14. And as he was able to just draw away from Chip Herr, but Chip's car definitely going to make up some ground in the twisty bits.
And that's what we saw last year and the previous 2 years really at VIR, is that Audi's not necessarily spectacular down straightaways, but its overall momentum and handling as well as the driver package has kept it very, very strong. He was always dealing with straight line deficits to the 944 of Johann Schwartz, the SRT4 of Mark Liller. Both of those drivers moving on to other forms of motorsports are taking a little break. But we do know that Johann Schwartz still has an influence on this class, as Tom Noble's been coached by Johann Schwartz for the last 8 years. That's where that driver development has come from. Johann said he's gotten really fast. Look out for him.
Exactly. You can see Herr throwing that car around with abandon. And again, that's just his driving style and what that all-wheel drive allows him to do. Darren Treacle in the 3rd spot. Osiris Pena right behind him in 4th. David Fiorelli in the Mustang in 5th.
Oh, look at her just chase the back of that Audi all the way to the edge of the track. And I mentioned that kind of spread out because of the stack at the start. That means Jose Pena has a couple of car lengths on David Fiorelli. Then it's a pretty big gap, 2 seconds almost all the way back to Jorge Nazario in his MX-5, who's chasing down Sean Lovett. Those cars are already starting to lose touch, closer to 10 seconds of deficit there to the leaders as they sweep out of the carousel.
So Treacle, then Pena, then Fiorelli, and then a little bit of a gap back to Sean Lovett and Jorge Nazario as they work their way out of the kink through Kettle Bottoms toward the Canada corner, the northernmost point of this racetrack. That's the name.
It does look. I was thinking Jim Hall needs a call about that one. That's a good one. But they say they have the data, and especially with dealing with spec parts, you have to get creative every once in a while.
said it sticks better through the carousel, and that makes sense, I guess.
Well, what happens with aerodynamics, obviously, it's coming over the top of the car,
Right.
and it makes the center of the wing the least efficient, the outside of the wing the most efficient.
Correct.
As I've been taught by my aerodynamic engineering friends, I don't just know that. But that means that if the car has a big width and the wing is fixed to a small width, then you have to get it out to the outside of the edge of the car where it's going to get some air. Here's a good battle. Jorge Nazario, power mover on the outside of Sean Lovett down into turn 1.
Yeah, big time power move. He came from way back. So Jorge's car looking good, that Mazda MX-5. But Lovett's going to fight right back in the red, white, and blue Liqui Moly liveried BMW.
See him driving a very similar looking car in the Touring 3 race as well. And these two are not too far up the road from John Schmidt out of Ohio there in that yellow Honda Accord. Always one of the fast power cars here in the class. Obviously, maybe not the most fundamentally best handling cars, being both front wheel drive and a bit of a family sedan, but he makes it work absolutely in the 8th position there.
John, a Honda engineer by trade, so he's raced Honda vehicles all of his career.
I don't think we were expecting this big of a spread. You know, the qualifying times were not all that far off each other, but between the start and maybe just a little bit of the jockeying or maybe the ways the cars make speed, this thing has really fanned out in the top 10 by a lot after one of the hotly contested races last year.
Yeah, Lovett back in front of Nazario. As that battle continues for 6th and 7th, maybe the best battle on the racetrack right now.
Certainly the closest proximity. Looking back, these guys are just ahead of, again, John Schmidt, then Eric Feist. This is his first runoffs in that white CRX. It's actually a B22 engine. If you're a Honda boy, you like to know what that is. Just because when he said, I picked this build 10 years ago, I finally have it done, K-Series wasn't a thing. So he's doing his best with the B22, or sorry, H22 in that CRX. And look at the straight line speed of that MX-5. Just pulls alongside the BMW every straight, power straight by him.
Yeah, I saw the same thing when he made the original pass on the front straightaway. That car has got some grunt, no question. But the Bimmer looks to be a little handier. It carries a little better speed through the corners. Notice the MX-5 exhaust pipe strategically pointed toward the infield, away from the sound measuring device, as they work their way up the hill under the NTT data bridge, soon to be replaced, by the way. Across the line, Nazario's MX-5 stretches the advantage.
Yeah, you hear the rev limiter as we go by, just past our sound stand here. Getting every last R out of that engine in the number 165. So at the front, last time by, Chip Herr was a little quicker than Darren Treacle, but he was also much slower than Tom Noble. Tom Noble coming through with the fast lap of the race at a 2:25.8. It's a 2:27.9 for Chip Herr. It's 2 seconds of deficit on one lap alone. That BMW is absolutely flying.
Yeah, he's built up a lead of 3.5 seconds over Chip Herr, and then it's another 3.5 back to Darren Treacle, who's kind of by himself. Jose Pena not that far behind him, but then we go back to this battle between Nazario and Lovett for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that battle with the CRX of Jose Pena coming up on the back of Darren Treacle. They were only 7/10 apart at the line last time through, and it was Pena that was quicker by about 3/10, call it, at the line. So the CRX is coming in, and we know that the CRX chassis is just generally a little bit nervous, especially with rear tire temperature issues. So whatever's going on there in Pena's car, whether he's gaining confidence or is just settling into the race, he's absolutely got the pressure on Darren Treacle. I have to wonder, though, is the hood of Chip Herr's Audi causing some of that deficit, because he just wasn't this much slower than Tom Noble in qualifying.
Yeah, and there's the battle between Treacle and Pena that we were talking about. Treacle in the BMW 325, Pena in the CRX. Pretty evenly matched. Their lap times very similar. A 28.4 for Treacle, a 28.1 for Pena, who was actually a little quicker on that last lap. But they were only about 3/4 of a second apart. It looks like they're that or a little closer as they work their way through Thunder Valley out of the Billy Mitchell Bend and heading toward the final turn on the racetrack.
two very different experiences at the runoffs last year. Darren Treacle ended up getting caught in a battle and then ultimately an incident with Joe Moser towards the end of that race, and Jorge Nazario was actually the beneficiary of those incidents, was able to end up on the podium. Didn't quite realize that he was on the podium until much later. He said, "I got on the radio, you can get this, you can get this." So he's driving his wheels off towards the end of that race. Now look at the stretched legs on that CRX, just pulls to the outside. Can he get the job done?
Going to try. He's side by side as they come down into the braking zone, but Treacle later on the brakes, able to maintain the position. He goes a little wide. Let's see if Pena can pounce on the way down to turn 3. Shows him the nose, but then falls back in single file. I would say the run down to turn 5 might be in Pena's favor, as he appears to have a little more straight line speed.
Yeah, I would say so. In fact, last time by, Pena was quicker than Chip Herr. Look at that. So that's the second place car driving towards us, the Audi of Chip Herr, second place. Pena now looking for third on the back of Darren Treacle in the blue BMW, currently holds that spot. We could end up with a 3-way battle for that silver medal by the end of this thing if Chip Herr continues to not find any extra pace in that car. He's currently circulating at about a 228.5. Last time by, Jose Pena was a 228.2, a couple tenths quicker.
Yeah, and Herr's qualifying time was a 26.5, so he's about 2 seconds off his qualifying pace, whereas Thomas Noble, lapping in the 226s, is right about where he qualified. So clearly Herr's car not quite doing what he wants it to, as these guys are catching him. Treacle and Pena making their way through the carousel turn.
Oh, you hear that gear shift in the middle of the carousel for the CRX. That's so difficult to get done. There's already plenty going on. If you have to shift in the middle of the carousel, it's very difficult. On the flip side of that, we know Darren Treacle's car is a sequential. He can just reach down and just grab a gear. It's a lot easier. Still not easy to pull your hand off the wheel in the carousel, but a little bit of an easier job. Tom Noble, though, speaking of easy jobs, has one right now. Just bring this thing home with a 5.5-second lead already, only working lap 5.
Yeah, exactly right. He has got nobody to challenge him.
It's a driver with pro-level experience, raced in the B-Spec category, TCB, if you will, back in the SRO, formerly Pirelli World Challenge days. So it's a driver that's been around for a long time, but again, we mentioned he's been working with Johann Schwartz, been working with this car, and has absolutely come a long way to end up in this dominant position in class. Extends the lead just a little bit more this time by the looks of it, but the question is Herr falling further back into the clutches of Pena, who's already popped to the outside on Darren Treacle?
Indeed, and as long as they battle side by side, that'll give Herr a little more breathing room. Let's see if Pena can keep it there on the run through turn 1. Not quite, but he should get a good run out of turn 1 now. Let's see if he pops here down into 3. Treacle's going to make that BMW as wide as possible down into turn number 3. Once again, Pena's strong here in the run down the hill toward turn 5. Treacle guarding the inside. He's going to make him go around the long way if it's going to happen.
He may not have an option, though. They're drag racing at this point. No, Pena is going to back out of it once again. So it looks like the top speed on the BMW, I can't tell if it's different per straightaway or if it's different per amount of time they're on that straightaway. There's a little bit of a difference. It looks like Pena able to get a really good run up the hill from turn 14 to 1, but then for some reason it flips, and Darren Treacle pulls away just towards the end of the straightaway at turn 5. Whether that's a gearing ratio thing or whatever else, kind of a different strength and weakness there. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes a difference. Right out to the edge at the exit of turn 7. Treacle in the blue BMW in the front, Pena in the multicolored Honda.
Yep. And again, these drivers allowed to do engine swaps within the manufacturer. So if you see a Honda out there, STU limits the engine displacement for non-turbo cars to 2.5 liters, I believe. And that is, or maybe 3 liters, I forget. But it's either way, likely going to be a K-Series engine if it's not the H22 that's in the engine, 2.2 liter in one of the further back CRXs of Eric Feist. So that's how you're able to end up with BMWs, Civics, and Lotuses and Audis all in the same class here. It's more or less power to weight ratio racing without a power to weight ratio math involved.
Yeah. It looks like that hood on Herr's car, at least to me, is even a little further up than it was in the early stages of the race. So that's acting a bit like an aerodynamic air brake, I'm sure, and that is bound to be a bit of an issue. maybe why he's not able to stay with Thomas Noble. His lap time on the last lap was a 28.4. Treacle was a 28.6. Pena was a 28.5, and they were racing side by side for much of that lap.
We mentioned the lap times for Tom Noble being 25s, 26s. The last 2 times by, he's actually been in the 27.9. So he's slowed quite a bit down. Chip Herr was actually able to basically stabilize the gap last time through and run the same lap times as Pena and Treacle. They're battling here for third. Ooh, and here's a big off. It looks like a potential mechanical issue for John Schmidt.
Yeah, it's gone kablamo. So Schmidt retiring from 8th position, it appears.
I'm trying to identify that spot on track. I think that's driver's left exiting the carousel, which means that car's facing the wrong direction. And sure enough, John Schmidt looks to have possibly gone for a ride in addition to
Chili?
So we're seeing this is coming up on the section that's going to be local yellow, if not a little bit more, with a full course yellow potentially imminent. Tom Noble continuing to lead this race, coming up on that local scene. They have the car off driver's left, exiting turn 10 at the carousel. And this is the last thing that Tom Noble would want to see, is a full course caution to bring this thing back together. Here's where that incident is. As soon as you see the camera angle change, we'll see him pass on driver's right. Give plenty of space for the incident response. And I have to wonder if maybe the engine let go or something on that car and sent him for a ride, because that's a very bizarre spot to end up, especially in a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, exactly right. Oh, we're going to get a chance to see it. Here comes Schmidt. Yeah, something went awry.
Yep, already losing fluid and smoke before he goes off. Does he keep it off the wall, though? Yes.
Yeah.
Great news for John Schmidt there.
Exactly. But yeah, I think the engine let go, probably locked up the front, or either that or fluid got on the front wheels, and he was a passenger at that point.
Yep. That car's also in a fantastic spot to extract easily. They can just pull it basically around the backside of the wall there into the motorcycle bend that they use for other races here at Road America. So we're likely going to stay green. We'll fingers crossed and knock on wood. Tom Noble's going to continue to lead this thing by about 7 seconds over Chip Herr, although his dominant pace has gone away. Whether he's just settled into it or whether the tires go off on that likely heavier BMW, not sure. But that time by a 28.0. He's just continuing to go a little bit slower, but the rest of the field is too, by a similar margin.
Yeah. Treacle just set his personal best in 3rd position with a 28.3. Jose Pena at a 29 flat on that last lap.
David Fiorelli also had a great lap going. He wasn't able to complete it because of that yellow flag, but his first 2 sectors and his trap speed were pretty strong for the Turbo Mustang sitting there in 5th.
So Herr in his 4th runoff start. If things stay the way they are, it would be his 4th medal. So he's got a perfect record with a win in 2 seconds so far. But if these two continue to run him down, he could find himself in 4th before this is all over. This time Treacle with a little more breathing room as Pena falling off that battle just a bit. So Treacle may be the one to watch. Like I said, he just set his fastest lap at a 28.3. And that was about 7/10 quicker than Chip Herr.
Yeah, it's quicker than anybody on the track. It's looking like Jose Pena is struggling with entry a little bit, maybe some braking issues or some entry characteristics that he doesn't like in that CRX. You notice every time we get to braking zones like turns 1 and 5, he's losing just a little bit of distance, and that's bringing David Fiorelli here in that offset winged Mustang a little bit closer, but we're still very spread out here in STU unexpectedly.
Yeah, normally this class a little more cut and thrust.
Take a look at how well this wing works through there. Can you see the right side leaning in? Not quite.
Yeah, I'm guessing it helps.
Sure, why not? Yeah, let's
why
say,
not?
Let's say. Still local yellow down there.
He gives a wave to the safety workers as they're towing John Schmidt's car, just as you suspected, under the bridge and into the motorcycle cutout. Fiorelli's doing something right. He's in a top 5 position right now and well in front of Nazario now. Nazario and Lovett's battle also has fallen off just a little bit as they were nose to tail. Now they're about 3 seconds apart.
David Fiorelli did have his best runoffs performance a couple of years ago here at the runoffs. It was actually a supercharged Scion FRS, or one of those twins. He made the switch over to the Mustang after that car and has been running it ever since, but has yet to realize the same success as that year in the FRS. So he's going to be looking at keeping this pace up, and now we're looking at Jorge Nazario. The 165 was able to run away pretty quickly from the cars he was near. Sean Lovett in that BMW is now falling back a couple of seconds now that Jorge Nazario's hit his stride.
Yeah, just about 3 seconds last time by, as they're coming across to complete race lap number 8. So we're into the second half of this one.
And that time by, all the leaders basically the same lap time, 2:28.3, 2:28.3, 2:28.8 for the top 3. Pena drops off just a little bit further, 2:29.3. But all drivers still running very close to the same pace. Wow, look at how loose that back end of the BMW is. Opposite lock through the apex, and then carry in the inside front out of turn 1. He may be in 7th, but he looks great.
Out of turn 3 again. Tail getting a little happy coming off of turn 3. As he's driving it hard, trying to stay with Nazario in front of him in that MX-5.
Here's a look at that CRX of our
Eric Feist.
Eric Feist, first time at the runoffs. 3 years racing this car. He's been building it up for 10. Was thrilled to be out here. Talked to him last night and just said, I'm just happy to be out in this car finally.
yeah, exactly. Well, we've seen him a lot. He's an Ohio guy as well, and seen him a lot in the regional races, but making the step up to national racing. His first trip to the runoffs, so good for him. Deeper in the pack, we got some good racing going on here, as we're seeing a little puff of smoke out of that car at the tail end of this battle.
Yeah, I think that's Ray Philibert in his MX-5. That's going to be an NB car, I believe. Following a pair of Porsche Boxsters, check out that white number 99 Cameron Wagner. That car just looks spectacular in my opinion. Also pretty good looking. Edwin Quinones right behind in his Boxster. A couple of mid-engine cars with a little bit of smoke.
Yeah,
that was an odd spot.
Yeah, that's out of the back of Philbert's Miata. Makes me wonder if he's got problems brewing. Either that or he's got a rotary motor in that. Did you see the big
it's very
blast
possible.
of flame coming out of the back?
Yeah, the cars are allowed to run up to a 13B rotary.
Yeah.
For our Mazda friends, who am I citing all these engines? What is going on? But
aerodynamics, engines? What,
yeah,
what have you done with Tom O'Gorman?
I don't know. But yeah, likely a rotary if he's spitting fire like that.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, a big radiator in the front. I'm guessing that's probably exactly the case. But this battle between the two Porsches is a dandy. That's for 12th and 13th position. Wagner started in 14th position. Quinones in 17th, so they've made up a little ground.
Wagner running just a little bit wide, giving Quinones the hint up the inside. He's going to keep the car pointed there. This is going to be really, really difficult to pull off as an actual pass, but he's looking like he means business if he gets the opportunity. Not quite enough momentum through the kink to do anything down towards Canada corner just yet, as now that potentially rotary-powered number 51 Ray Philibert's car is all up in this battle. 3 ways here for 12th in class.
Joe Mosier's picked up a spot as he moved around Tatsuo Otis for 9th position. So, despite the fact that his F production car may be a little outclassed for this race, Mosier showing he's got the racecraft to make it happen. As Wagner being a little defensive here, a lockup. As he's feeling the pressure from Quinones behind him.
Yeah, big time.
Another little puff of smoke out of the Philibert Miata. You would expect the Boxsters pretty evenly matched on the straightaway, but this time Quinones thinking about going down to the inside. Can he be later on the brakes? Perhaps he saw that lockup from Wagner's car. Thought maybe I'm better on the brakes than he is. Turns out not to be the case anyway, at least not in that case. But here comes Philibert. Soto Quinones got his hands full of that All this going on for 12th position. Let's see if Philibert's going to make a move here. He's almost close enough to pop to the inside.
Yeah, I came down the inside lane there at turn 1 and didn't quite give himself the opportunity for an angle on the corner. Balked his momentum just a little bit, so now he's finally gotten back to the back bumper of the number 99. I think it's clear the 68's a quicker car right now, but he just can't find somewhere to get by, just as Cameron Wagner in the 99 car has been doing a fantastic job of just putting himself in the way, whether he's driving his own line or not. Now getting knifey under the edge, under the inside. This is 68. Still not quite willing to throw the car down in there. He's pinching his entrances off quite a bit with every look that he takes.
Yeah, and Wagner's giving him room. It's not like Wagner's closing the door on him.
Yeah.
He's leaving him racing room, and he's just not choosing to dive down inside there just yet. And as they battle side by side, of course, that keeps Philibert in the battle. Straight lining the kink is Quinones. Trying to get a little extra momentum in the run down to Canada corner. As we're getting into the closing stages here, working race lap number 11, so there'll be 2 to go as they cross the line next time.
Still up at the front, Tom Noble continues to lead and lap at a very consistent, yet a little bit off his own best pace. That's all he needs to do, though. He's continuing to lead by 9 seconds over Chip Herr, but Darren Treacle and Jose Pena are coming closer and closer, putting in now personal best lap times as well. So the battle for third is absolutely on. I also think it looks like there's a cool battle happening for ninth. Tatsuo Otis and Joe Moser have been swapping positions back and forth with the new Civic Si Turbo and then that old Integra GSR F production car, kind of exchanging blows lap by lap.
As we turn our attention back to the leader, Thomas Noble, who is almost 9 seconds in front of Chip Herr. I don't think anybody would have guessed that that would be the case in the closing stages of this one.
Yeah, definitely not the...
That's why they run the races, you know?
Exactly. Not the race we expected, but it's the race we're getting, and Tom Noble's got to be loving it, because he's got 2 laps left before he would claim his first gold medal at the runoffs, if he's able to make it. Once again, knocking on wood at my desk here. Chip Herr comes through a little bit slower, a little bit faster last time than Noble, but it was those first 4 or 5 laps where Noble just cracked off qualifying lap after qualifying lap to build this gap. That kind of sealed the deal, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. Herr's just not been able to answer it. Treacle and Pena, though, behind her are having a great battle.
Yeah, it's down to half a second. We want to take a look at that third place battle between the CRX and the BMW.
They've been swapping personal best the last several laps. As Noble will see the white flag next time by, as he smoothly takes it out to the edge of the track at turn 5.
Noble opening up the inside of that, or the outside of the carousel. We flash back to that third place battle. Here's what it looks like, and it's actually very close to Chip Herr as well. Pena and Treacle pushing each other productively forward and forward and forward, but right now it's a battle for the bronze medal, and Jose Pena has found some confidence in that CRX. He's been the fastest car on the track 2 laps in a row, but he's still kind of mired and stuck behind that slightly wider and slightly quicker in certain sections of the track BMW 325. That's a former World Challenge car, got some pedigree with James Safronis at the wheel, and then a lot of time now with Darren Treacle driving it here in STU.
They've got about a lap and 2 turns to get this pass done. If Treacle and or Pena has got any designs on a second place finish, as Chip Herr just trying to get the car home.
Just turned in a personal best sector 2, actually did Herr. So he's got some pace left in that car. Maybe the consistency is getting a little bit difficult on those older tires here towards the end of the race.
White flag is in the air for Thomas Noble as he's looking to take home a gold medal on the first time of offing. And about 10 seconds back is Chip Herr, and here comes the battle for third right behind him. Peña's going to go to the inside. Treacle's going to guard the inside, should we say. Peña's going to try to go around the outside, realizing this is his last opportunity.
Oh, he goes for the over-under.
Great momentum for the over-under. He's got the inside line down into turn 3.
Just needs some confidence on the brakes. He finds it this lap. He keeps it there right at the apex. Treacle pinches him down and is now going to get the slingshot around the outside. We'll find out for real this time which one's got the legs.
If Peña can stay there, he'll have to go around the long way when they get down to the bottom of the hill. And Herr could act like a pick here if they catch him. Absolutely side by side. Peña, the Bimmer on the inside of Treacle. Later on the brakes, Peña should be able to do the over-under, but he just doesn't have the torque to climb the hill.
Yeah, just wasn't in the power band. Maybe needed one more downshift to make that work, but that would have been a change in his rhythm, and he just couldn't quite get it done. The sequential, meanwhile, easier in the BMW, plus the torquier engine. Treacle's going to easily pull ahead. And these guys are, I think, just maintaining the gap to Herr, meaning Herr maintaining the gap back to them.
Yep.
Unlikely that we'll see a battle for all 3 cars for second, but this is not over yet. Working the white flag lap. Can Jose Peña find a way to earn a second in a row bronze medal, or can Darren Treacle come back from a bit of heartbreak late in last year's race to earn a medal finally?
Exiting the carousel turn as they come under the Mission Foods bridge into the kink for the final time at speed. Treacle with the position, Peña right on his bumper as they weave their way through Kettle Bottoms on the way to Canada. This will be Peña's last best chance as they come down into Canada. Late on the brakes is Peña. He's going to toss it in there, but just can't quite close the deal.
No, and that was beautiful from Treacle. He left him the space if he really needed it, but he saw that it wasn't going to quite work out, carried the momentum from the outside on that late turn in, and then I think he pretty much just solidified that bronze medal for himself. Peña's going to try to sling it through 14, but I think that's just enough buffer for Treacle to maintain this drag race.
Meanwhile, Noble takes the win on first time of offing. Chip Herr, last year's champion. Here comes Peña. He's going to try to make a run at the line. Comes up about a foot short as Darren Treacle will take third spot by 48 thousandths of a second.
Wow, I agree. I think just a bumper ahead was Darren Treacle, and I said just enough to maintain that. If he didn't get just the exit that he had on that turn 14, it would not have worked. The offset wing on the Mustang survives the race and brings home a 5th place finish for David Fiorelli out of Texas in that turbo Mustang. And then here's a great finish for Jorge Nazario, another one of the drivers from the Puerto Rico region in his MX-5. Screams up underneath our timing booth here.
Sean Lovett just behind him in 7th position in the BMW E46 as he takes it across the line. Eric Feist should be next in the order. There he is again on first time of offing. A top 10 finish. He'll finish in 8th spot in that number 4 CRX SI. And then behind them, Tazio Otis in the 7.
And then behind there's another popular car, James Schlechta's Nissan 300 SX. Taking a look at that Civic Si of Tazio Otis, who had the back and forth with Joe Moser. We saw Moser hit the pit lane about a lap and a half ago, just calling it an early quits out of that F production car for whatever reason. And then a couple of seconds back from this white number 7 from Tazio Otis is a beautifully replicated livery from those old IMSA GT O cars, James Schlechta.
Schlechta started back in 13th position, going to bring it home in 10th, so he picked up a couple spots as that 300ZX crosses the line to make it official as our final car in the top 10.
Well, here we go. This one's not over yet. The Boxsters still battling it out, but they've both lost the position last lap to Raymond Philibert.
Philibert in that Miata with, we think, rotary power, as the two Boxsters are going to duke it out to the end. Wagner in the white, number 99. Soto Quinones in the number 68. This is the battle for 13th and 14th as they climb the hill.
Quinones tried to set up for the over-under, but I think once again the 99 of Wagner just put himself in the right spot, waves to the flaggers and waves to his competitors, and brings home that 12th position.
And that's the end. The last car running. Joe Mosier retiring near the end of the race. John Schmidt in a smoky retirement a little while back, about 8 laps back. But here's the number 72 of Thomas Noble from the pole, and really was not challenged in the whole race. I mean, he put in a couple qualifying laps, as you said, Tomo, and just, wasn't challenged. Nobody had anything for him.
No, and a relatively local driver too, out of Minnesota, so he's got to be thrilled to just have the races come to home turf, and then able to both have the car and the driver to win this thing. Tom Noble, again, putting in the work, and it's paying off. He's going to pull up to Hayward Wagner to be able to celebrate.
Not far behind. Chipper getting directions from the grid marshal, so he knows where to go. He looks to be a happy camper, clapping his hands as Hayward giving him a hand with that window netting.
You want. You've got one more lap to do.
He's got his name on his helmet there. That's nice.
So he doesn't get lost.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always a challenge to get the helmet unstrapped with shaky fingers.
In fact, do you want to do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you shove this in the window?
Sure can.
Hayward's got our winner, Tom Noble, on first time of offing.
Get in the hat, get in the medal, and we're going to get a little neck band from Hoosier.
My first runoffs.
You know you're new to this when you have to introduce yourself to the Hoosier guy. First time.
Exactly, that was it. I didn't know, but
Well, Tom, congratulations, a national championship. Folks who tuned in at the end might have thought that was a bit of a dull race, but you really had to work those first couple of laps.
Oh, no question. I mean, Chip. I mean, he's the reigning national champion, and he was right on me. And I had to keep it in myself and just keep trying to work the next corner and try to go where I'm strong, and it worked out. But yeah, Chip, and he's the real deal.
I'm watching your hands. Your hands are shaking. You can't even really hold the water still right now. How nerve-wracking were those last couple of laps? What did it feel like coming to the checkered flag, counting down laps to win a national championship?
Well, so I think the first thing to your earlier comment, working with Chip was where it was, a little nerve-wracking. But once I got some separation, I started talking to my higher power about just get me there, man. Just get me there, no mistakes. My coach was radioing me through my tech team here, and they tell me what to do, kind of ease up. I don't have to go 100%, and that's what happened. So here we are.
Well, congratulations to you. You get to enjoy one more lap around this beautiful track.
Awesome. Can I also I know this is cliche, but Dan Martin, my tech guy, Kent Jones, my mastermind, I would not be here without my team. So this is a team victory 100% for me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nothing cliche about it. To thank your team, absolutely. Nobody does this all by themselves. And that's great for Tom Noble to take the win. Here's our top 10 with Thomas Noble winning by almost 6.5 seconds over Chip Herr. Last year's champion, Darren Treacle, had a race-long battle with Jose Osiris Pena for third and fourth. David Fiorelli taking the 5th spot in the Mustang. Jorge Nazario comes home in 6th in front of Sean Lovett. Eric Feist, first time of offing, taking an 8th place finish. Tazio Otis and James Slechta rounding out the top 10.
Noble was disqualified after the race, which promoted Herr to first, Treacle to second, and Pena to third.
Let's send it back down as we've got our second place finisher, Chip Herr.
Chip, a second this year. Compared to last year, just an almost boring race for you, wasn't it?
Oh, no. Boring races don't happen in the runoffs, but I hope it was good for the first lap. Man, that BMW's got legs. Shane here has been helping me out since we were kids and running Stace's car, and it made this car handle really well. And maybe didn't have the straight line today, but second place is awesome. And this one here, so really supportive all the time. And I want to thank Hoosier and Carbertech and Motion Control. It's a team effort, and we love coming here, and I love to drive this car. So I know it's a little boring, but I didn't want to be part of a highlight reel hitting a wall this year.
Coming down pit lane, you were flashing the headlights, waving your arms, just like you had won the race. What does it mean to you to be on the podium here?
It was actually the people, the fans, and the corner workers. It was pretty cool. I pointed at a guy in a motorhome sitting there, and I pointed at him. And I hope he goes, "What was that?" It's about the volunteers and the people, and also all the guys who race. Like Darren, this is, I think, his first podium, and it's really awesome. So I'm just thankful to be here.
So let's bring Darren up. Darren, Chip just outed you. Was this your first podium?
First podium.
How's it feel to be on the podium here at the Runoffs?
Great. I've been close. Been very close, but never made it to the podium. Yeah, it feels awesome.
Well, congratulations to you. I'm sure you got a few people you need to thank real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Angry Sheep Motorsports, Chris and Nick. They put my car back together. I had an oil line pop off on Wednesday. I had to go get one made, come back. They got the car going, so thanks to them. Carbotech, Hoosier, Pegasus for making the oil line for me. My family at home, hello to everyone. Yeah, my CrossFit buddies, they're probably watching. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Well, congratulations to you. Enjoy the podium.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hayward. Great to see all these drivers thanking their teams as we have the highlights. And at the start, side-by-side racing at the front. It looked like we were going to have that all race long between Tom Noble and Chip Herr. But eventually, this battle is the one that we watched right to the end between Treacle and Jose Pena, BMW and the Honda. Very evenly matched. As Thomas Noble able to stretch his advantage at the front, but this battle for third was a dandy all race long. Chip Herr bringing it home as he comes across the line. John Schmidt, unfortunately, looked like an engine failure as he spun off in his own fluid, but fortunately kept it off the wall. So tough break for John, but glad that he's safe. And that was all she wrote. Thomas Noble did the job and takes home the checkered flag for the gold medal on the first time of offering. And he's a happy camper with his crew on the cool down lap. So that'll be it for STU for 2024. Thanks again to Mazda for presenting our broadcast. And thanks to Sunoco as the presenting sponsor of the 60th running of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs. We'll see you down the road.
Choose joy. Choose the road. Choose your people. Choose your shot. Take it. Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. That's it. Way out there. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Choose joy. Choose your calling. Choose to really care. Choose to go for it. Just choose. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, offer less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
Choose to get in there. Even better, get out there. Way out there. We craft cars for those who choose to do more than simply move.
I wake up.
Okay, track day checklist. Let's go. You got your gloves, your helmet, water, snacks, sunscreen, your car is prepped and ready to go. Forgot your track day insurance, didn't you? If you want to be covered for the whole value of your car, you need high-performance driver education coverage through Haggerty. We'll get you a policy for track days, time trials, and more in less time than it took you to apply that sunscreen. Haggerty, let's drive together.